Yeah, just so you know. I don't care if we... Wait, what? Wait a minute. Nah. That boy ain't better than me. You make sure you show him that clip.
You tell him I said that.
You tell him I said it. But you tell him I'm quoting you, though.
I didn't say shit. I was just asking the questions. I didn't say nothing. All right, here we go. I got right here in front of me a good friend of mine who's been doing music for 10 plus years, I think, something like that. I know he's been getting in it for a while. Rapper, hip hop artist, actor. He's getting his thing, getting his groove on with that. Kid Saturday, KS the Wolf. How you doing, man? What's going on?
What's going on?
It's been a long time, bro. As far as actually, well, let me say it like this: we go back.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna age ourselves.
No,
but
don't do it. Most people don't know my age. They're still guessing.
We're talking, keep them guessing for real. But we definitely go back, and but the crazy thing is that since 2017, I've been keeping up with like the work you've been doing. I mean, it's been going back further before that. But at the same time, you know, you're doing music, and now you're getting into the world of acting and everything. And but of course, we're out here in LA.
Yeah.
But your story starts way before that, just definitely way before that. So we're going to start off from the beginning. So if I remember correctly, you were born in Hawaii, right?
Yeah.
That I knew. I was like, okay, like my memory, because what it is, my sister was born in Hawaii, yeah. So
okay. That's right.
So you were born in Hawaii, and you grew up in a military family.
Yeah, relatively the same to you, good sir.
Yeah.
Both my parents, both my real parents met as Marines, and you know that turned into me. And then of course my stepfather, he's also military. So yeah.
Yeah, military upbringing it's interesting because when you were born in, how long were you in Hawaii right after that? Was it not too long after?
3 years, probably.
Oh, okay, so it wasn't much you could really remember during that time.
Nah, I didn't go back until late 20s.
Late 20s? Mm-hmm. Okay, so was it like, did you have family out there? Or
no,
was it...
my family wanted to go, so we took a family trip out there.
Okay, so it's just kind of like an opportunity as far as like you being born there, but kind of like to, see what it's like, during that time.
Yeah, actually be able to experience your homeland and really see what it's all about. It's different when you go as an adult compared to as a kid. You couldn't, even if I stayed there as a kid, I don't think I could have enjoyed it the same way.
That's a good point. Yeah, because when it does come to moving, especially going back into places that you used to be before, like versus a kid as an adult, it does have a different feel. Mm-hmm. So after you left Hawaii, then that's when you guys moved to North Carolina, correct? Or what happened after that?
Okay, so yeah, we did move to North Carolina because I was there as a kid in elementary school for a little bit, but we left and went to Georgia, I want to say. We were in Georgia for a little bit. We spent some time in Connecticut. I feel like there was somewhere else, but either way, we found ourselves back in North Carolina by the time I was in middle school.
So it was like every 2 to 3 years. That's like the basic thing with like, the military upbringing every 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
How did it feel to do that as a child? Like, when it comes to making friends and everything like that?
I think sometimes there's highs and lows, because being the new kid in school, it's kind of cool, and you're hoping, you kind of gauge the room. And you're like, okay, people see me as this mysterious guy. Let me keep that persona for a while, so you stay quiet a little longer. But then the cons are like constantly leaving good friends and having to make new friends. And I don't know, you eventually get used to it, but it gets tough until it starts to become nothing or your family stop moving and you can grow up with some people.
That's a good point. Because because I think the good thing about it too is, like you said, as far as like you have the opportunity every time you go someplace, you need to kind of case the room. It's like you almost have, it's good to have that new beginning every once in a while when you go somewhere, go to a different place. You feel that kind of,
I didn't mind, because you make a mistake even as a kid, or you say something dumb or get in trouble in school, it's okay to start over. You don't mind that. And even as an adult, we all try to start over sometimes, our New Year's resolutions or whatever. But as a kid, once you move, it's a chance for you to kind of leave some old things in the past, try and start over again.
That's a good point.
Begin anew.
Yeah, that's a good point. Because I know I felt like that definitely around the time like when because again, I don't want to age ourselves, but when we met in
76.
76. I don't know where that was. No, not that old. I got grades, but not that great. But at that time, because I know for me, when having the same upbringing that way, you know, you get the new beginnings, but then you have that pain as far as leaving things behind is also there too. Would you say it was? Did you say you had that kind of pain in a sense when it came to leaving things behind versus also like a new beginning, or was it just more one of the other or something like that?
As a kid?
Yeah, as a kid, or during that, you know, because it's a huge adjustment.
Yeah, but I don't think I had so many woes. I didn't have a lot of things I was carrying at that time. So you're more just leaving behind friends. I think that's the heaviest thing that you have to learn to live with. But anything else, it didn't feel the same. You know, it didn't feel as heavy.
Absolutely, for real. As you were growing up, what kind of things were you getting into? Because I remember back then, you was always like, you know, it's like going outside, you know, hanging around, like, you know, back
same block, same neighborhood, everything, man.
So what were you like getting into?
If not hanging with you sometimes, right over. You had the basketball. You had the little court, didn't you? And your pops was out there.
I did. And it was in the backyard. That was
not
where
that
we
I
hung
could
out
shoot. Not that. Yeah, I learned that early enough. But honestly, I think if I wasn't outside, then the creative side of me was in my little house with my family, kind of drawing up my own stories sometimes.
Yeah, that was definitely something I noticed. I mean, back then, hanging with you, you were always kind of like in the creative thing. Was it that like, especially when it comes to music and comics were the thing.
Comics, heavily.
Do you think that, I mean, of course, like with what you have going on now with the albums now and everything, would you say that had like an influence on like your creative process as far as from your childhood and doing those things?
Yeah. Because it's not that I was trying to escape my childhood or anything. Nothing was bad about my childhood, but you get lost in things. And for me, it was the comics and the music, of course. My mom played good music around the house. Most black mothers do. It just comes with the territory. So she played good music, opened me up to a lot of different, you know, eclectic sounds. And at the same time, I'm in my own world reading about Magneto trying to take over while Otis Redding is playing in the background. These two dynamics, they can mesh, and you can see this world where it all makes sense. It all exists. And I think even outside of those two kind of combining like that, comics took me to a place where I felt comfortable enough to be myself and be just openly like different. Try and experience different things in the world and try, you know, my hand at just creative outlets. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, that's for sure, because that definitely, you do have to have like that multifaceted approach to things in terms of, and that's why I was asking like specifically as far as like your hobbies and then going and adapting into it or kind of using it that way. Like if it had an influence. Now, of course, we're talking about you know, as far as you doing music, were you getting, when did it exactly occur to you? Was it during that time where you decided to say, hey, I'm going to just start getting into the music?
Ricky Jackson. Gentleman by the name of Ricky Jackson. I want to say it was freshman year of high school. I was maybe dabbling with music before that. No one was really taking it serious in middle school, not to me, except maybe Bow Wow or somebody. I don't know.
Yeah, because he was out during that time too.
But Ricky, we were doing, we were behind the scenes. We are not behind the scenes. We were a part of the crew for a play on stage at White Oak High School.
Okay. Oh, well, shout out to White Oak.
We're just helping with lighting and stuff like that. And Ricky's got his Walkman. Now I'm aging us. Ricky's got his CD player, and he's like, "Oh, you rap?" Like, you know, I mess around with it, and he was like, "Hey, man, rap on this." And he gave me his CD. I'm listening to it, and I spent like the rest of the day trying to write this one little rap. And it turned into something. We thought it was cool, so we started recording other things. And I don't know, it eventually transitioned into something serious, but I know that was the starting point of me saying, all right, let me try my hand at some music for real, for real.
So if that was the case, what were some of your influences during that time at the early stages?
Tupac, heavily. I mean, anybody else is. I mean, there's a lot of influences, but I don't even want to go down a list. It was Tupac before anybody else. His music, how he approached things, how he saw things, his mind. It really got me kind of trying to, I don't know, try to see things differently. You know?
Yeah, definitely. Tupac is definitely one of the artists for sure, especially during the '90s, coming out, like West Coast rappers during that time. They definitely did have that effect on you that made you want to rap also.
Yeah. I mean, but Tupac was East Coast.
That's true.
He was born on that side, but yeah, if you think about him, he's West Coast, and I don't need no West Coast rappers being like, bro, don't try and bring him back to the East Coast. He's with the West, so it's all good.
They say West Coast is the best coast,
He was
right?
he was a rapper for the whole world. Honestly, he was just. But that opened my mind up to a lot of different things as far as music, how to approach it, and yeah, let me go ahead and give some spotlight Lil Wayne. Yeah. Growing up, I was listening to him, but we also had other rappers like Lil Zhane was doing some stuff. I was listening to him too. Most people don't even know who he is.
Yeah, I definitely remember back then. Yeah, during that time, they were really going hard with because that was after what you talking about. Yeah, Lil Zane came out 2001, 2002. Of course, we were in North Carolina. That's when P. Pablo came out around that time.
You're a good man.
You gotta show love to him. I mean, he's not because he did his thing.
Yeah.
And then of course also at that time. There were so many artists. I mean, Cash Money, No Limit at that time, they were going hard. I feel like they all kind of had like a hand. And even like 50 Cent, his early days.
Yeah, of course, had that Get Rich or Die Trying. It was that if I wasn't listening to Tupac by myself somewhere, my family was throwing something else at me. My brother was heavily into, he was into the world of rock a little bit. And so that opened the door to, try Linkin Park out. All right, what's this? Try Korn. Try, who is it? Green Day. Try, he was throwing a lot of different things. And then here's mom. Try, of course, Otis Redding. Try some Boys the Men. Try some, who is it? Who somebody should really love? I don't know. I be going to a lot of different artists every day.
Yeah, for sure. That definitely does help. Because then, of course, you see where all the, you see the timeline of music, who influences who and everything, and they have the influence. Okay, so you started doing music back then and during high school.
Yeah.
And then eventually you went to Eastern Carolina University?
Yeah.
Now, during that time, did you step up the music game at that point? When was it? Was it around that time where you decided to really start putting things down? Or was it a little bit earlier before that?
It was a little before. Probably senior year of high school. I think I was getting a little more serious with it. Still trying to figure my way out. You're young and you don't know the sound you're trying to create, so you're creating a lot of everyone else's sound. What everyone else sounds like, you're just duplicating. I was with a group at the time. We went by The Block.
The Block?
Yeah, The Block. It was a few of us. And we were throwing out some tracks. We did a performance at the talent show at high school, so that was real cool. And we got an opportunity as a graduation gift to me. My mom was connected to a friend of hers was actually married to somebody who was heavily in the game. I'm not gonna throw no names out there, but he was working with a lot of cool artists at the time, some good names. And as a gift to me, he brought us all to this studio like this. It was a lot better, but in Wilmington, I love this spot. But I mean, that spot was like multi-million. You know what I'm saying? He brought us over there and let us record a song, and he did all his producing stuff. It was dope. We thought it would, become something, but nah. But we were in high school, so we were just the experience and being in the space and seeing the process. You fall in love with it. I mean, some of us did, some of us didn't, but you fall in love with that, and that's the moment I was like, okay, I could really do this. I could be in this world. I mean, I love being in the creative world altogether, but musically, that was that moment.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, you always got to have that moment. Now, then from there, Because like I said, you know,
And it was a different name too. It wasn't even Kids Saturday then. It was like Deflo. I think that's what Deflo or something like that. Don't ever repeat that.
I'm about to say, I'm like, was the flow deaf or something? Is that what
It was
just like?
I was trying to go on a poetic lane.
Right.
It didn't hit. And eventually I was like, nah, we gotta leave that behind.
Was there any dabbling like in spoken word or something? Or
Yeah.
is that what it was?
I love poetry.
Yeah.
Dude, I love poetry. I mean, you go back to my house back in North Carolina and there's still poems just taped up on my fucking doors and stuff. I love poetry. And that's the first lane. I was writing poetry when we were kids, and that's the shit you ain't showing to nobody. But I'm over there like trying to, if the rose and the wood petals, and you know, I was trying to make it cool. But now I'm in love with poetry, and I feel like anytime I'm about to create something new, it always starts with a poem. Like I'm watching something, or I'm just writing something, and then I'm like, you know what? Let's make an album out of this. Let's turn this into a book. Some crazy shit.
That's what's up. So then, so after high school, and then going, you know, after college and everything, still in North Carolina. Eventually, you decided to make some moves. When did you decide to move to LA? Was it right after you undergrad, or? It
was a little after. I was I was in ECU for 3 years, and I was on the path. I had an internship that lined up for me to come out here. I had something else prior to that. A friend of mine, he had a gig that he got, and he asked me if I wanted to tag along. Shout out to Chris Todd. And on that flight, like they paid for our flight out there, and I did not jump on the plane back home. No lie, I did not. And parents called, mom called, where you at? Hey, Mom, you gotta sit down, listen to me. It was the boldest thing I think I ever did my whole life.
It seems like LA has that effect on people when you come out, if you have a certain thing you want to do.
J. Cole said something funny, and I mean, two people, J. Cole and both Gambino, stay in my mind with their quotes. J. Cole is, if you scared to take a chance, how the F we gonna get rich?
Yeah, that's true.
And Gambino's is, all my friends asked me if it's worth it. I told them that it better be. I did this shit on purpose. It's like, hey, like you have to be willing to take that chance. I don't know if this is gonna work. I hope it's gonna work. I believe that it will, but I'm not writing the story. I'm just playing it out. I'm just a character involved in it. So, yeah, I took that chance. I stayed out here. I lined myself up. I had an internship that connected me with some people, yada yada. And I could probably tell more of that down the road for another question. So.
It's all good. Yeah. So okay. So you come out to LA.
Mm-hmm.
And especially, and because we were talking about your influences before, and you just now mentioned Childish Gambino and J. Cole and everything.
Yeah.
Do you feel like any of like the music that you have been doing so far has like a little bit of a West Coast influence, or how do you kind of decide what your sound is going to be?
It's impulsive. I'm a Gemini, like you know, some of these other crazy ones out there. So one day I'm waking up and I'm like, oh, I'm sad today. Time to write one of those. And then every now and then I'll be driven to say, okay, let me try my hand at a different sound. West Coast is not my sound. I'm not gonna pretend like my beats have ever sounded like that or my draw is from that type of style. But I'm equally influenced by them, and I'm not gonna pretend like I can't learn and experiment. And that's one of those moments. So a few of my, you know, one-off tracks that I'll probably put on like Instagram or something, a few of them have had that West Coast vibe lately. I don't do it too often, but I would say a small amount of them might have a little bit of influence from the West Side.
Yeah, like, you know, because yeah, you talk about like, you know, different, because we listen, especially when you're into hip hop, you don't really limit yourself to what you listen to.
No,
not at all. And even when you talk about hip hop, it's always, music in general does this, but definitely hip hop has been known to make this a thing when your inspirations they just come from your life. From your upbringing and how you view society and the world around you and anything like that. Do you try to like speak a certain, like try to manifest certain things in your life like through your music? Like, because I've interviewed rappers before, like they'll say, like, you know how it is when it comes to lyrical content. Like people say, oh, if you say this in a song, it must be true, versus you're just trying to speak something into existence. Do you incorporate that in your music sometimes?
I think I do incorporate certain things, not that I'm trying to manifest, but just things that I believe were already going to happen. So I'm just talking about something I'm already, I'm just letting you know ahead of time that this is how it's going to look. I said before, if I told you that never mind, I'm not going to get into my shit like that. But I would say it's like Tupac once talked about it in a way of, sometimes he'll tell his story, sometimes he'll tell others. Either way, it's still the truth. And then there's that fine line in between about how you have to watch what you talk about. I think I'm one of the small few that exists in that space between where it's, I have said things and then it showed up, of course, and that's, of course, me believing and pushing on it. But even the negative things that I've said about things, I've said stuff, and that is also showing up, and I'm like, oh, you really got to watch what you say. Like, words have power. You got to watch what you say. And something about music and pushing that out in the world, it grows in strength and just you saying, I believe in it. Now it's you telling the world and other people are quoting the same stuff, and that energy hits you tenfold and you're like, oops, I shouldn't have said that. So you got to be cautious.
Definitely, for sure, especially when it comes to the words. But of course, along with the words, you got the music videos too.
Yeah.
So when you came out here, you met Joel Sanchez.
One of the few, yes.
I met Joel.
Yeah.
And because he's very interesting, because like the first time I actually got to see him in person was a couple months ago. And actually I got to see you shortly that evening. Mm-hmm. But he's been going to different film festivals and everything. He has a short film, Versus, which is based off his love of gaming and stuff like that, but also goes into the whole thing about racism and then as far as like society in general and how it comes from different angles. Yep. Joel's very interesting. He directed your music video for Greed. How did y'all meet up?
We were both videographers, a part of this organization that I will not name. But we were...
Any reason why? Just not...
No love, man. No. I ain't got no spotlight. I got no love for certain things, so that's it.
Okay, we'll leave it at that.
They got no love for me, though. So.
We'll leave it at that.
We're going to leave it at that.
Okay.
So me and Joel, we both were videographers touring around with this organization. And we were on different teams at the time, but eventually they had us together. And we just hit it off. For real.
Yeah, because he does have like a and I mean that was the first thing that I saw of his was of course the Greed music video that came out in 2017, 2018. Wow, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
something like that. Because it was around the time of your release for Red Hen.
I mean he shot a few videos for me.
That wasn't the only one off of Red Hen, you mean, or
Joel also shot Absolem.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see. What else did he shoot? No. I believe those might be the only two from Red Hen that he shot.
Okay. And I noticed with his design, like his production design for both Absolem and Greed, it has like a dark feel. Is that like his thing, or is that, and especially for you for that album?
Now that's a good question.
Because both of them are really dark and eerie.
Yeah, I think I could say Joel and I have a lot of similar influences, things that we both really are into. I'm not gonna start naming them because I don't need him to message me and be like, I don't like any of that stuff. But no, I believe, because we're all in him, myself, and our homie Carter, we're in a group chat, and we're always talking about crazy stuff. And yeah, a lot of our influences are the same. So I would dare to say that darkness came from a hint of both of us. Joel has his own things, and he's not a dark person. He's funny. He's very lively. He brings good energy. But I think there's still a nuance to everybody, and Joel can tap into that and say, I'm going to bring a little touch of something a little more, different.
Okay.
That's what I love.
Okay. So he didn't, because there was another video. He didn't do the video for Closer, did he?
No.
No, he didn't do Closer.
No.
Okay, so it was just mainly Greed and Absolem. Mm-hmm. That's funny. I didn't know he did Absolem. And that was the main thing that stuck out to me was that, of course, definitely Greed was one of my favorite tracks off of Red Hen. The one song off that album that did, and I'm sure you know what song I'm gonna bring up. Maybe not. One song that frustrated me because it was really good.
Yeah, I do.
I think it frustrated a lot of people, and I think you kind of mentioned it in the album, like right after Funnel Cake.
Yes, sir.
Why? Why did you just give us the big fake out with it? For people watching this interview, Funnel Cake is a song off of Red Hen, and it's only a minute long, but the production on it it's. I'm not just saying this because you're here. It's immaculate.
Yeah.
So I'm like, why was it so short?
Oh man. Yes, I still get in trouble for that to this day. If that song plays and certain people on the car, they're like, bro. And that's why I had to put that follow up. Literally, that follow up is true story stuff. My homie, he hit me up one day and he was like, yo, my mom heard your track. She want to say something. And she was like, yo, why is the song so short? Why did you do that? I want the rest of the song. It had me dying. So I was like, yo, you gotta duplicate what your mom said for this doggone little plug-in. So following up that thing my homie says is because his mom really cussed me out about that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Funnel Cake, I love. I'm not good. I don't think I'm good with love songs. And sometimes I get too... I'm a sensitive person, rightfully so. That's why I'm so protective of my energy. I'm allowed to be that. But in the same sense, when you express that side, I don't know, it can make you uneasy because you start to get in your head and you're like, how are people going to perceive that? When you're just talking some raw shit, just rapping, you don't worry about it. It's all ego, so you don't care. But when you're getting a little more emotional or you're breaking down some stuff, telling people how you feel like that, it comes with a certain territory. And that was one of the earlier times that I'd done it. So I was trying stuff. And I just wanted to see how it felt. And shout out to my homie Akula singing. That boy, he brought it. That boy sound.
And that was the thing because the song, it was like it almost could have been like a hook. Mm-hmm. And that's what I think we at least could have had like that after your verse, maybe something like that.
Yeah.
And that's what I was going to ask about who the singer was. Cause I'm like, yo, that was just that whole thing was just, I'm like, why not? But then when you also think about music nowadays, people are now going down the road of shorter songs anyway. Mm-hmm. But at that time, I don't think people were really, because especially Red Hen, most of the songs were kind of still like at a regular length. You talk about 3 to 3.5 minutes or something like that. Was Closer was also another short song, but that was kind of towards the end of the album. Yeah. Was that like kind of like an outro or something?
Yeah, that I believe that may have been, or was it a follow-up little hidden thing? I can't remember. But yeah, that was more of an outro style track anyway, so.
Okay. So, Greed, yeah, so we talked about Greed, and then of course Funnel Creek, all on the album Red Hen, which came out in 2018.
Wow, that is crazy.
And now you had Up after that. Well, what came after Red Hen as far as, well, music or in general? Because I know that there was a couple songs. Did you have any singles that came out around that time?
After Red
Or
Hen.
after Red Hen, rather.
Mm-hmm. Single. I was riding the Greed train. Greed is one of my favorites from Red Hen. So every chance I got, I would kind of jump back to that and push it as much as I could. As far as a single during that time, no, because I do a lot of these just one-offs. I know I've had 2 major singles that I can think of. Major. I've had 2 singles I can think of. Yeah, I had 2 singles I could think of. One of is Coachella in My Room.
That's a good one.
Yeah. And Draco 9 recently was one of them. If there's another single, forgive me, single, I can't think of you right now.
Okay. So then 2019 comes around.
Yeah.
And that was when you were getting ready for the Mars EP.
Yeah.
That was an interesting design for that album because I remember you sent me the main song, which was Fame. Was Fame the main single for that? 2-step?
I would like to think it was, yeah.
And I remember you sent it to me before you released it, and I'll say thank you for letting me be a part of the creative process from that point.
Yeah.
Because you had me listen to it in the car, and I was like, okay, I'll let you know how it sounds. and I was like, wow, did I just kind of have like a little bit of a of a little bit of a production credit with this, but nah. It's
Come on, man.
I mean, a little bit of consultation. I appreciate you having me a part of that.
Yeah.
But Mars came out in 2019. What was the concept behind that project?
Mars was understanding my place while also still trying to find that exact place. My placement in all of it. You are far gone from your home now. You don't know exactly where you're going. So you're idling, or you're just kind of a nomad, essentially just moving about. And I sat with a friend, Amanda, and she was talking to me. She was heavy into like astrology and reading the palms and all of that stuff. And I like it. I don't understand it fully, but I'm intrigued by it, because anything that can kind of, I don't know, maybe give you another unique understanding about yourself, I'm open to it. So she was talking to me a lot about the energy of what Mars meant and what it exuded. And at that particular time, I really resonated with that and felt the exact same way. This anger, this aggression. It was me trying to take back control of my life while also not exactly knowing where I'm trying to take it. So the picture, the cover art itself, despite it being called Mars, the character is idling in a house outside of Mars. He's not on the planet. So he's brought everything that he knows and that he cares about, and he's just kind of moving about. And wherever he is asleep, wherever he's resting, that's his space, that's his home. And that's kind of where I was during that time.
Yeah, so because 2019, there was a lot of interesting things going on around that time. Wasn't it because of course listening to the EP, there was, if I recall correctly, what current events were going on at that point? I think was Michael Brown. Did that incident already happen? And I think Eric Garner around that time. I know you mentioned it maybe in Mars, and that having the a little bit of a, would you say it had a little bit of an influence of that time, 2019?
Yeah, because Mars was the anger behind a lot of these things. Now, forgive me if I'm getting the dates wrong, because Madgod just goes deeper into it, and we can touch on that. But Mars was the groundwork for, you are a black man in society trying to figure your way out. And there are times where you feel like you're welcome, times you feel you're accepted, and then you gain another understanding, and it's not exactly what you thought, and your perception of everyone starts to change. And so here's this character trying to find his way in the society that he's not sure really wants him there. That's kind of the Mars character. And yeah, during these events of all of that happening, I think a lot of the music, the intro, Haven't I Been Good to You? It's a lot of that, and I talk about Nipsey in there and whatnot. We lose a lot of people so quickly that, I don't know, sometimes we don't have time to be sad about it. We were just talking about some people we lost recently, and we had forgotten a name that we won't say because we had lost so many so fast that you're like, man, I'm trying to keep track of it. So, I don't know, it gets heavy, and it's hard to talk about it, and you don't have enough people around you that want to talk about it. How long are you supposed to? Some of us take longer to heal. Music is the best outlet for that. Mars.
That's a good way of looking at it. It's a good way of expressing it. Another thing about the Mars EP, we just talked about Fame. There was a video for it, but it also got used for something else. It got used, wasn't it in a movie?
Yeah.
What was the name of the movie?
Take the Night. Yep, Take the Night.
And how were you able to get it a spot in the film?
That was a lucky moment. The person actually hit me up, and they liked my music. They said they wanted to work with me. This was the early stages of me exploring, outsourcing, if you will. And I don't know if that's the right word. Either way, it was me trying to get my music out there, and it was a good opportunity to work with the gentleman. It was a few of them, actually.
Was it the producer or the director of the film?
It was the director.
Okay.
And yeah, he told me which song he liked. He saw the music video, and it was kind of just back and forth, a few emails, and that just took off.
Yeah,
because showed me the shots.
Because that song definitely is a standout. It's more of the upbeat one on Mars, and then everything else is kind of a little bit like more of on a deeper note.
Yeah.
So So you got that chance to get it into a film, but then right after that, you had your next project, Madgod, which came out in 2020. The next year. Now, is Madgod like a continuation of Mars? Because the design is different. The artwork is similar, but it seems like it's almost like it's like a part two. It's like a Mars part two. Is that fair to say?
I'll allow it. The character is still, he exists. This isn't even the last time you'll see that character. He is a consistent. He's the animated version of myself, but he's in Madgod. He is not really sure how to. I want to say this right, because Madgod was important to me, and it was swept under the rug, I guess, during the time. It's pandemic and all of this bad timing, but there was just so much more that had happened prior to Mars, or right after Mars, that once we got to Madgod, I was just built up with a lot more rage, but it turned into the sadness. Once again, it turned into me not like a numbness, not really knowing how to express it. And it came out with OCD. What is the other one?
Foul is on there,
Yeah.
OCD. I loved Witness.
That's the one. Witness is, yeah, it's just these things, man. Oh.
Because in there, because you did mention, you just mentioned, of course, it was during the pandemic. You also mentioned George Floyd, and of course, going into just also how other injustices have pretty much have had an influence, not just on music, but just in society in general. And it does take a little bit of a darker thing. You also had, did you have like a little bit of a Nina Simone influence for that project? Why her?
Because she's unapologetic. Because Nina Simone has always spoke her mind to me. And in that particular interview, I think it was cool that she was spotlighting artists. I feel like I'm an artist. I believe myself to be an artist. So with her saying what our duty is, I truly believe that. I don't think when you get to a position of power, you have to waste that, or you idle by, or you just say, hey, I'm just here. Some people aren't meant to change the world. I'm not saying I'm here to change the world. I believe that if you have a voice that people are willing to listen to at all, if I have 60 listeners today, 5 today, then, and they're willing to hear me out on something, then I have to make sure that my words, as a friend of mine once said, are used strategically. They're used correctly, the right way. So it's important, like Nina Simone said, to speak on certain things. It's important to talk about the tough situations and the tough things we're going through.
For sure. There was some time in between Madgod and, well, actually, no, not that much time. There was, you went on to your next project, which was, well, actually, I want to double back because I do want to touch upon Compton Brown.
Yeah.
Now, Compton Brown is, it's a duo between you and it's a singer. I forgot her name. Did she change her name? It's like it goes from Nani to Ari, or is it back and forth?
Ariana Compton.
That's what that's what it is.
So nickname Nani.
That's okay. So that's also, I'm like, which name is which? But you know, sometimes people can change their monikers or something like that. But it does happen. How did Compton Brown come together? Because there's 2 songs on Compton Brown, or from Compton Brown on Red Hen, and then there was Bad For You. Which that is hard to me. Still hard.
Thank you.
How did that come together?
There's someone that we're both connected to. I don't like to tell all my secrets.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
So there's someone who is just, they are well known for finding immaculate talent and putting them together. And they put us 2 together at a time and was like, you guys will work well. We met up one day. We were just chit-chatting, laughing it up, whatever, playing some music, smoking, drinking. First song, Absolem, just came to be. No lie. We're just messing around with some music. Nani stumbled on the track.
Yeah.
She found it. And we hit up the guy, got the little leasing for it. and put that song together. I don't know. It felt like like 2 days.
Yeah. Definitely. Absolem was
On
cool.
its many a drinks.
Yeah, for sure.
But Absolem, you know, just to touch on that, do you understand the story of Absolem?
Not necessarily. Go ahead and tell us.
Because I mean, I feel like
because the visuals it was very, when you see the video,
yeah.
I'm like, okay, is this trying to give a feel of like an outer body experience or something? Or am I far off on that?
No, you're not far off. It's definitely in that realm, because Nani always felt like everyone around her, where she was staying at the time, San Diego, I believe, they always offered her tons of drugs all the time. And so she said the number one thing she would hear is take one, take two. And for her, it felt like she was stumbling, falling down that rabbit hole. Like she felt like Alice in Wonderland. That caterpillar in there that was apparently offering Alice all the drugs, his name is Absolem. And so the connection is, it is as all our friends say, a smoke two song, ironically, as it is about somebody stumbling to try and resist all of these drugs that they continuously get offered. And that's why we have the rabbit in there, who is a continual figure in a lot of music videos.
That's funny that you mentioned as far as that's what it's leaning towards as far as the drugs, because the last because when I was getting ready for this interview for you, the last interview I did in Vegas was this other rapper named Hiatus, who I went to school with, and he was doing a music video out there, and he kind of had like a similar take in terms of when it came to drugs in music. Like he's like anti.
Everybody was doing Molly and all these drugs for the parties, and I was like, you don't need drugs to party. Like, you can have fun without being, you know what I'm saying, gone. Even to this day, I still stand by that. Like, even if I go out and drink, I'll drink maybe not two sips, but at least 2 cups, maybe a shot or 2. And everybody's like, why don't you drink more? That's because I like to be aware of what's going on. I'm not here to lose my mind and lose myself. I'm trying to enjoy the night. Maybe make the vibe a little more chill, a little more mellow, and that's it. And just enjoy it, yeah.
Like he doesn't even like he's like
Yeah.
like nah, I don't even need it like to be a part of my music or anything like that. But if I do, it's gonna be mentioned in a way to where it's like, this is what's happening, and I'm trying to kind of get away from it. So that's kind of interesting that we kind of get into it. And it's actually kind of interesting you decided to kind of go into the concept of it, because the song is really chill. It's a chill song,
super chill.
and it's but now it all makes sense. It all makes sense. Compton Brown also did. Now wait, because you guys had a few songs. Is there ever going to be like an album, or is that kind of just like something you need to keep on the hush? Or maybe I just spoke something into.
No, Compton Brown is. We're always working on stuff. Okay. I'll say.
Fair enough.
As far as us having time, sometimes it gets tricky. Nani is she's doing her own thing right now, and so it might take us a minute to get some things finished. But we're always working. We're always staying connected.
For sure, that's what's up. Because you guys do pretty good together. The taking a step aside from the music real quick, you know, because you've been getting into other things as far as when it comes to your creative process. Now, what was really cool, I want to congratulate you on this. This is maybe a year or so ago. You got to do some narration for the 50th birthday for hip hop for Champion.
Yeah.
That was cool. It was cool. Like, how did that come about?
So I had. Shout out to my sister, my friend, my homie for life, Mimi Wilson. That's my ace in the hole. So Mimi is, at that time, she's working with a certain group, organization. They're looking for talent. They're collaborating with Champion to get the 50th, hip hop anniversary spotlight going. Mimi is the writer. Also, the words I said in there, she's the one who wrote them.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So Mimi hit them up and said, yo, I got a guy. He's super talented, yada, yada, whatever she said to him. I guess they checked out my stuff. They emailed me, and they were like, yo, we love your stuff. Can you read this real quick? I sent a little tape over. They loved it, and they said, can we fly you out tomorrow? Let me hit my job. Hold on. I hit my manager. I was like, should I do this? Yada yada. She said, cool, let's make it happen. Flew me out. They flew me out. They rented me a car, got me a hotel. All of this happened within like one day, and then the next day I fly back. It was like the fastest 24 hours, 38 hours. I don't know. It all happened so fast. Oh my gosh, that was crazy.
That's what's up, that you do have people in other rooms, that are speaking about you, especially when it comes to this type of work.
That's the best part.
That's a really good thing.
Yeah.
Would you want to do any like work like that, like voiceover work in the future for like any like brands or anything?
Yeah, I've done some other stuff. It just happened to stumble out after that. Those guys did like what I did, and so when other opportunities showed up, they hit me up. And so there is you'll have to go to my site, but you'll see a few small things that I've done some voiceovers for random things for websites and whatnot. I've had some cool opportunities.
Yeah.
And I will continue to do that.
It is pretty cool. Like to kind of to kind of do that thing. Because I remember when I was a radio DJ when we did spot production. It's there's something about voiceover work that's just fun and imaginative, and you can just turn up. That's what it is.
It's the little things. Can you add a little jazzy to your voice? I'm like, I don't sound. Yeah, no problem. I got you. Just trying stuff.
That's what's up, and it's good to try the new things. Now, after that, I mean, well, not even after. It's been in and out. When it comes to music, you did Champion, and then you also have been doing short films. So there was a few that I looked at. One I didn't see. I've seen clips of it. Was Hero. Then
Right.
you have also Because I Have to, where you were like a coach and a dad. You were hardcore in that. But the one that got me was Blood and Water. And you played a detective, Stephen McIntyre. Is that the name?
Yeah, I pulled it off. This here, Stephen McIntyre.
That was
Steve.
That was an interesting role. You played an interrogating detective.
Yeah.
And what it reminded me of, remember in Menace to Society, the whole look of the dark feel of an interrogation room when Bill Duke had Kane in the interrogation room, like, and it's just the questioning of how it's done.
It's just us now, Haley. I get it. I do. Older, more popular kids invite you out. Something bad happens to your friend. And where they headed? Duke, right? Yeah. They wouldn't want to ruin their futures. Everyone knows you would get a lesser sentence because you're a minor. Haley, I want to help you, but I can't if you don't tell me the truth.
The EMTs wouldn't let me see her. You know how she is.
She was submerged for quite some time. Haley, it was a miracle that they were able to get her heart going again.
She's alive.
Yeah.
What are my options?
Well, you can sign this to confirm your official statement. Or you can leave. Yeah.
Like, was that like a little bit of an influence behind that character? Or how did you get into that mode?
They hit me with some influences. I couldn't say what they were because I've done a few projects since that one, but getting into that character, it was... Which one was the biggest influence? I couldn't even say, honestly. I don't know what drove me to go in that style, but you find it. You find that sound and the character. I know what I like to do is just give these characters their own life, their own style. I'm left-handed, and I always say the first thing I would try and do is give somebody something different that I'm not. And so the character in the little shot you see, he's always writing with his right hand. I cannot write with anything, so you couldn't see what I was writing. But it's small things to say, how is he different? How does he live his life? What has he done? And what has he experienced? And to me, that detective, he had seen enough to not see anything, to not feel any specific way about this particular case, but he also understood the empathy that he needed to show to get the girl to agree with him, to understand where he was coming from, or at least to feel comfortable enough to hit him up down the road.
Right, because the film is called Blood and Water,
Yeah.
and it was very interesting because it was those type of movie where all movies do this in a sense, but the way they were revealing all the details of what happened, but I think I'm still kind of not clear. What did the girl do? Did she kill somebody in a boating accident, or is that supposed to be left up to us to figure it out?
No, so the girl, she was on the boat. Her brother was on the boat. Her friend was on the boat. Another girl was on the boat. That was her friend. Her friend fell off the boat. And due to the situation, if I remember right, they weren't supposed to have the boat anyways. It was their father's. And so they had taken the boat. A girl fell off the boat. She got injured in the water. Paramedics had to come. They all tried to get away with and hide it. But the older brother and the family wanted to put the situation on her, because she was a minor and she wouldn't be hit with so much backlash.
That's why she was getting so much pressure. Because I was like, why are they all on her? But then they're mentioning the brother. But it was kind of weird to me. I'm like, well, what happened?
Yeah, I guess that's my fault. I wasn't a good storyteller. I wasn't a good actor. I should have laid it. I should have looked the camera in the eyes and said, "This is the case." No, I think maybe with short films, it's tricky like that. You have to try and tell a solid story in a small amount of time. Maybe we could have said something here or there to flesh it out more, but I think overall the story itself, they did so good. I love what they brought, what we put down, So I'm sorry that it wasn't exactly translated, but watch it again, you'll understand.
I'll definitely give it.
You gotta give it a few watches.
I'll give it a few times. Went over Compton Brown. And as far as the possibility of something that might come out sometime soon, or not soon, but excuse me, I don't want to be misquoted on that, but it's a work in progress. Is that fair to say?
We're always working.
Okay,
definitely,
for sure. Now I would definitely look forward to it, like something coming out from Compton Brown sometime soon. So we went over. So as far as with Compton Brown, we also went over your film work too. There's another album that I was kind of a little curious about as far as like the concept behind it, but the beats on there are really good. The Sessions Volume 1, that came out. Now, when did that come out?
Ooh. I almost want to say 2019, but I could be very wrong about that. Because I just kind of dropped it in between things. We were just hanging. It may have been a little later because I feel like it dropped during the pandemic.
Okay, because the pandemic, you think about 2020 to maybe like maybe the fallout was still like 2022.
Yeah.
I noticed what was really interesting about Sessions Volume 1 was there a music video for every song?
Yeah, and that was not exactly planned. We just kind of started going at it in our own little right. Every time we were out, we were just recording something. Every time I thought of a new song, I'm like, it would be cool if we did this with it. So eventually it became, I wouldn't say a visual album, but it just was something cool.
Yeah, because the songs on there, like definitely I liked Wolf Was Hard. Then you have OMG, Toxic. I Am is actually my personal favorite, but then what was also really interesting was the song Roots. Roots, you kind of made it seemed like you were actually really trying to put a message in that one. In terms of as far as people knowing who they are and why they are the way they are.
Yeah.
And so, what was like the inspiration for that?
My family, spending some time with my family, allowing myself to open some doors to those questions I don't ask or the questions I consider asking. I'm always thinking that there's going to be more time because you lose family every day. So it felt good to get to know them and in turn know myself more, know where I came from. And I was just encouraging others to spend time with their family as well and get to know them. And a lot of sessions was ultimately it's a filler episode essentially, but it's one you have to watch. You know what I'm saying? It's one that because prior to sessions it was all Kid Saturday, and then when we transitioned past that, that's when we're looking at KS the Wolf, and that transition happened when Joel shot Wolf in his own little Joel Lee cut. And we saw the name change. He was the one who did the shift from me from Kid Saturday to KS the Wolf.
Okay, yeah, because at the beginning of the interview, yeah, I did mention both of your names, so there
Yeah.
is a reason behind the change.
Yeah.
Now, does it matter if people from any of your listeners if they address you as Kid Saturday or KS the Wolf, or is there one that you lean more towards?
I think it comes down to when people know me and when they've come upon my music, because the new followers, the new listeners, they call me the Wolf. And anybody else who knows me before, you talk to my boy Jalen Musa, if he picks up the phone now, he'd be like, Kid, you know what I'm saying? That's what he knows me as. But he might sometimes throw in the Wolf down the road of just talking about some stuff. I'm not opposed to either. I would prefer the Wolf. But if you know me as the Kid, then that's like an exclusive kind of pass to my history, my sound, my collection. So I'm not mad at that either. If you know me as a kid, then you've been around, and I respect that.
That's what's up. Because even on Sessions Volume 1, you do have a song on there called Wolf. So is that like your way of like solidifying?
Yeah, and even before that, there's a track. If you go back and watch the visuals, there's a part that I blur out the face of the kid, and it says, it says the little thing on the side. So there's little hints. I like to throw hints at when things are coming. I care a lot about hidden storytelling, and that's why you can look in some of my visuals and you'll find the rabbit mask in there, and that comes from Gym Class Heroes. Travis McCoy? Yeah. He always talked about in all his visuals he has a toothbrush in there. I don't know why, but it stuck with me and I loved it.
That's actually an interesting inspiration. I almost forgot about the Gym Class Heroes.
Love them still.
So we're taking a quick step back as far as going back to the acting, because like we talked about Blood and Water.
Yeah.
And then Because I Have to, which is like the father-son, coach and player perspective, or showing that dynamic. But then you also have Hero. Mm-hmm. I saw clips of Hero, but what is Hero about, and what was your character?
Again, I'm a father, which is not something I am in real life.
That's what I say. You didn't choose the father.
I play a father to a, how do I best describe him? Well, his mother's out the picture. She passes away from cancer, and my son is dealing with some mental instability. I don't want to put anything specific behind him, but because I don't know how the audience is going to articulate it. So I don't want to say one thing in particular and then be like, that's not what it looked like to me. So yeah, to me, he had some disabilities, and it was, I play a father who's trying to navigate how to best communicate with him while also maintaining, life without my partner. And we get to a particular climax in the project. When you get the chance to see it, I won't give it all away, but you get to a particular point where I guess it more feels like you don't always, it gives the understanding that you don't always have the time you think to fix things or to have those conversations. And so
That's kind of interesting, because like we were just talking about with Roots, in Sessions Volume 1. It's almost kind of like a similar thing, like
Yeah.
being able to have those talks with with family members.
And yeah, and if I book something and a role after I've done a project and I can connect the two, I will. It's too easy to do it.
Out of all the films that you've done so far, which one is your favorite and why?
Honestly, I would probably say Blood and Water because I love the detective. Yeah, I mean his name. If I got away with that, I can get away with anything. No, but seriously, I could see because I'm new to that world still. I'm understanding it, but I don't know it like some of these people. So I'm not gonna pretend like whenever I'm doing a role, I'm like, yeah, I totally figured it out. I got into the character. I'm learning. And so when it came to that character, when I was able to watch the film at the end, playback and everything and see it, I believed it myself. And that to me was like, okay, there might be some hope for you, young lad, if you keep going at this.
Now that'd be really cool if you get to do some projects in the future for sure.
For sure.
So one of the main reasons we're having this talk today, because you got a project coming up. The Problem in My Head. Now, because going back to Sessions Volume 1, because like I told you, I thought that was a visual album. But this next project is actually you're setting it up that way.
Yeah.
Why do you decide to make this one a visual album officially?
We stumbled into turning it into that because that wasn't the original title. But I am heavily influenced by experiences. And the last year, I would say, has got to be probably the last 2 years were probably the roughest of my time on this planet. And it taught me a lot. And I'm still learning from said experiences. And it pivoted me into the Problem in My Head. And turning it into visuals was something that just hanging with certain friends, my co-director, Andrew Greenbaum, we talked about just different things. And honestly, I think it kind of just fell into that. I don't recall the exact moment that we said, let's do that, but it just became that. And I'm grateful for that. And we're trying to tell a story that's not so straightforward about my experiences, but more of a fictional telling of something that I feel people could still relate to when they watch. You don't watch Spider-Man and say, oh, that is exactly who I am. You do watch it and say, yeah, I've been picked on in school just like him. You watch the Hulk and, say, yeah, I felt that rage in my heart. I'm going to do some Marvel. But yeah, this is that lane where you can watch this character go through certain things and say, I've been there. I understand I can correlate to that emotion.
Now for something like that, how long did it take in the creative process? Because you've been working on it for a bit. Was it simultaneously with any of the past projects, or did it kind of overlap at one point?
It was, I would say, probably towards the end of Madgod is when I knew that the project was becoming something. And we've only dropped one single from it. Draco 9 will be on the project. And we have a visual already shot and cooked up for that, so everything is going to piece together. But I don't know.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, no, because it does take a while, especially if you're trying to put a lot of thought into it. But one of the things I also noticed, because I think you had put it on your social media too, you're working with the producer. You were only working with one producer for this album.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's and he's actually been working with you before, Darius
My
Ship.
boy. My boy.
Because he also produced Good to You on Mars.
Yeah.
I
believe Darius produced all of Mars.
Oh, did he do all of Mars?
Yeah, I need to look back, but I'm almost certain he produced all of Mars.
Okay. Yeah, I know definitely Good to
sure.
You for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, Darius and I have been working together for a while. I'm on a few of his projects. Yeah. That's my music brother right there. He's my producer. He dabbles. He goes into a lot of different lanes of things, so you can't just call him a producer now. He does sing. My man, you might catch him rapping on some things. He's got a sound. He knows his sound very well, and so when he wants to apply it, he just does it effortlessly. And what I do love about the projects and the beats that he gives me, the projects we culminate together, is you can't just take one of his beats. You can't duplicate it. His sound, his voice is usually woven into the beat. And especially on The Problem in My Head, there are some beats on there. I'm gonna show you one. I ain't gonna show. I don't know.
Okay, now
we might give him something, but yeah, there's a few on there where you can't not hear him, and it's just incredible how he does that. Yeah, that's my boy. That's my boy. And this project here, Problem in My Head, I'm gonna say it's his best work because this is my project as well.
Right.
But he's always cooking up something great. So
he's pretty much. So is that basically the main reason why you had him just strictly for, or not just strictly, but he's the only producer for this one? It just works perfectly.
I mean, him and I work well.
Okay.
We work well, and we didn't even know. We knew we were gonna create a project, but we didn't know what the project's gonna sound like. It just starts to happen as we're going. I'll sit with him, we'll throw a few drinks back, be talking about some things, and I'm like, okay, this is the sound I want. And you know what I love is that I can sit with him, and because that's the closest I'll get to actually making a beat. I don't touch anything. I don't understand that world, and I'm not gonna wear too many hats. I already do too much as it is. But when I'm with Darius, I can say, I want this sound, or I'll make a noise. Can you do this little noise here? And this man, well, oh, you talking about this. All right, you talking about, let's do this. He'll go to the mic, make some noises, plug those in there. I'm like, yo, this man is a genius. It's incredible, dude.
So he's got to be like your favorite producer to work with, I take it.
Yeah, I don't work with too many. I'm specific, and I have my issues. So not too many people want to deal with me, and I'm okay with that. But Darius knows how to deal with my wild, crazy, when I just start throwing out all these different sounds. Can you work this? Can you try this? He's okay with it. And so yeah, he's one of my favorites to work with because of the synergy.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
We're looking forward to that because, like you said, that Problem in My Head is going to come out, like you said, sometime next month. Or
should be next month.
Hopefully, we'll see.
We'll
see what happens. I'm definitely looking forward to it. It's going to be fun. It's definitely going to be fun when it comes out. Especially but not just producers, but you have collaborations. You mentioned Jalen Musa.
Yeah.
He's been on tracks with you. Even Darius Ship. Yep. You've had other people that have been on your songs. Mm-hmm. Do you have any dream collaborations?
BigXThePlug, believe it or not. Yeah. I don't know what it is. I don't know if our sounds even will mesh, but I've been on this man's music so hard lately that I'm just like, dude, if I could collab with this guy, it'd be incredible. Of course, Gambino. I just think that sound, you don't find too many people who make music like him.
Right.
And so if you could make something like that, if you could work with someone like that, it would be really cool. And then outside the norm of just hip hop. Oh, but let me say, Killer Mike, dude.
The last album, did you listen to the last?
Did I?
Yes. Yeah.
Did I? That Michael, man, listen.
I see why it got the attention it got.
It had to.
Yeah.
Killer Mike is one of those people. I've mentioned him before in one of my projects. I wrote Killer Mike for Prez. That dude, he gets it. And I like people that aren't just one thing. This man is an activist. This man is a thinker. You don't have to be an activist. You could just be somebody who's just understanding and paying attention, and I'm with it. I just like that he knows how to speak and reach people. He knows how to say the right words. And I don't know. I would love to work with him. Of course, and outside the norm, like I was saying, maybe Adele or somebody.
You never know.
Different. I don't mind.
You never know. Because wasn't there a few years ago you met Common?
Yeah.
How did that come up? And would you do a song with him? He's pretty cool.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. I think Common and I can make some cool songs. Yeah. I was working at a film studio at that time, and he was shooting a music video. And Common isn't like some of the other artists who have come in. And I've met some artists, but Common he had lunch with the crew. He was real chill, relaxed. And I just told one of the crew members, I was like, man, to talk with this man, be cool, yada, yada. And I'm just chilling, doing my own thing. And then I go away, come back 2 seconds later, and she's like, yo, Common, what's up? This is the dude I was telling you about. Yo. Oh, hey, what's up, my man? Me and him just chatted it up for a few minutes. Yeah, it was just getting to know each other, and it was just real grounded, down to earth. That was a cool experience. And you don't you don't go into those conversations being like, yeah, man, you gotta sign me, you gotta let me rap for you. I'm not the one who's gonna do that stuff. I more talk, I just talk with them. Just want to get to know them, want to let them know who I am and what I'm after. And I always kind of tell these artists, I hope to meet you down the road on my own journey. Like, I don't want you don't have to be the one to be like, hey, take my hand, I'll get you to success. I hope that the things that I'm doing, the choices I'm making, will just have us meet down the road. Oh, Common, what's up, Will? Yeah, let me finish this. But I'd rather have it happen like that,
That's a good way of looking at it. Hip hop now. We just had all the craziness going on with Drake and Kendrick.
Whoa.
What was your favorite song out of that whole? It could either be Kendrick or Drake. For me, it was Euphoria.
Euphoria.
I was blasting Euphoria in the house.
Headshots for the year. You better walk around like Daft Punk. My God. When that man said that, bro, I was just like, look, I'm gonna retire music because I don't need nobody ever going at me like this. Nah, but the competition was dope. I won't get too deep into it as also an artist in this game. Not that they hearing me. I don't know if Kendrick paying attention or Drake. But if either one of them listening, I don't need them worrying about me right now. But yeah, I'm curious to see what happens at the Super Bowl.
For sure, because because Kendrick is gonna be the performance. He's definitely victory lapping right now.
Yeah, looks to be.
Do you think this battle? I mean, this is kind of maybe the first biggest one we've had in a while. No, what was the last one?
Biggest one we've had in a while? Yeah, I would say, because any other ones, you know the main battles, and then you have the filler battles, and it's not against any other artists, but we remember Jay-Z and Nas.
Yeah.
And then now we remember Kendrick and Drake. And there were those in between, but this was the major one.
For sure. How do you feel about the current state of hip hop now, with the artists that are out and, all the good that's coming with it? And, of course, there's some dark moments too. But overall, for you as an artist, how do you feel? And especially with your contributions to the game.
Highs and lows, honestly. You can't win at everything. Nobody can. So with us as a community of hip hop, we're gonna put some L's up there. I'm not saying anybody's music is bad. I'm saying that some music, it might not be beneficial. Some music is, and music that makes us dance is beneficial. Music that makes me work out, music that makes me just sit around and be in my emotions, beneficial. You know what I'm saying? But then you have certain lanes of music that you're like, I don't know where you fall in any of this. I guess you might make some people feel good or whatever. So I'm not gonna judge anybody, but that's why I feel like it's just highs and lows. Sometimes you have some good artists that I like and others don't. You have some bad artists, in my opinion, that others love.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say, because it's one of those things where is the music bad, or is it just not for you?
It's subjective.
It's
gonna be subjective every time.
Yeah, and I mean, because I tell people, and I have no shame in telling people this. I tell people straight up, Will Smith is one of my favorite rappers. I don't care.
There you
go.
Because
it's a thing of like, okay, if you don't like it, it's just probably just not. It's not your vibe. It's not your thing.
And Lord knows, watch when just the two of us come on. which version you doing? From the first time the doctor placed you in my arms. Look, I know all that entire song still. I won't pretend like Will Smith didn't give me some good gems growing up. I'm not ever gonna say Will Smith's a bad rapper. There's too many good rappers out there. There's too many bad rappers, in my opinion, out there. It's all subjective.
Right.
Will Smith is not a bad rapper. I'm gonna get dogged just for that.
No, I tell people that all the time. I mean, because it's like I said, I think it's one of the things that's for you. But it's like what you just said too. You listen to certain types of music for certain situations. Yeah. And that's just the thing. But like, hey, I mean, I say no shame in your game. Hey, you like what you. And
then you do have the artists that they won't pivot so much.
Not as much.
I'm not going to BigXThePlug. I don't think BigXThePlug is going to give me a sad song one day.
No.
I don't feel like I'm going to get that.
But he is hard though.
Yeah. And so every time I feel like speeding to work and flicking off everybody who waiting too long at a green light. Guess what I'm playing? You know what I'm saying? Good music for good situations.
It is what it is. So, The thing is with music, we keep talking about your influences and inspirations, and we're getting ready for your next project coming up next month. What's keeping you going so far? You can take time.
Self-awareness, maybe, because you, in general, we as people, we all don't have much going for us, in my opinion. We all just we're here, we exist, and then we're gone. There's not much else. So how do you turn this life into something? I think that's the self-awareness, is that in the umbrella of it is that I live and then I die, and that's it. How can I turn that into something else?
I think it's simply well, I don't want to make it oversimplify it, but I think it's a thing where you just try to find that one thing you want to hold on to that makes that you love. I think it's that.
Yeah.
Would you say that would be kind of like somewhat of a catalyst to it? Especially when it comes to the awareness. You talking about family, you talk about your friends, and then the relationships that you have cultivated while you're doing your music.
Yeah.
I would think that might have something to do with it, maybe.
Yeah. It's just all the real work happens when nobody's watching.
True. That's true.
And so all of the work that I do for my creative outlets is always when no one's watching. I'm not the guy who's going to invite half my homies to the studio when I record. They're lucky if one person gets in. Even still, I'm like, you don't have to stay the whole time. You should just leave. Like, I'm so private when it comes to my work, the book I'm working on. I'm not asking a ton of people to check it out. I have maybe one or two people that are reading some excerpts, but even still, I'm not hitting them up every day about it. I don't know. That's why it's like the self-awareness is that I love being in that space. I like when I'm alone with the creative outlets and I get to just express. I like when I get to know myself more. And that's kind of what keeps me going, is because when I'm not there, some days they feel heavy and dull, and you miss something, or you try and have a real conversation or a cool conversation with somebody and it doesn't turn into anything. It doesn't evolve, or you feel like the smartest person in the room, which is always the worst thing.
Right.
You don't want to be that.
Right.
So I'm like, where can I go where I can feel the best and feel like I'm still learning and growing? I'll sit on YouTube and watch a million creators, million poets talk about different things and be like, okay, I'm back in that space. I feel good. I'm learning things. I didn't think about that. How can I, better express myself like this poet or this writer or something? The self-awareness, that's really the only thing I feel that keeps me going, is that there's got to be a reason why I'm doing all of this. And it feels good when I am.
That's what's up. So besides the problem in my head coming up next month, is there anything else coming up in the future we can expect from you?
Transformers movie. And then,
that would be lit.
let me see. I just finished another short, so I don't know if you guys know. Okay. I was like, I wonder if I'm giving anything away. Okay. I had some ink on my hand for a while.
I mean, if there's anything coming up next, we don't have to have the full.
No. I was just like, oh, wait a minute, is it still there? Yeah, I've got a short coming up called One Road, and I'm sorry, I look directly at the camera saying that.
I mean, if you want to give it a plug.
This camera, that camera. Nah, I got a short coming up called One Road. That's gonna be cool. We got the visual album for The Problem in My Head, and we're lining up a few little spots so we can start getting some performances going.
That'd be cool.
I got to get back on stage.
Yeah, that would be cool. Because when was the last time you were on stage?
1963.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it was a Tuesday, I recall. Yeah.
Well, I would definitely like to see you do your thing on stage, because I have seen videos of it, but it seems like you definitely know how to do your thing out, especially when it comes to live performances, for sure.
That's my place. That's where that's where I thrive, man.
Let's get it. Well, Kid Saturday. Congratulations on everything that you've done so far. Like, we covered pretty much almost everything. You did the commercial for Champion, and that was like a whirlwind in itself. And then going from music, of course, you have the different projects: Red Hen, Mars, Madgod, and then the Sessions Volume 1. Hopefully there'll be a Volume 2. And then now we got the visual album coming up. You've done a lot of work, man, and we're definitely enjoying it, and we definitely like seeing what you're we're looking forward to what you got coming up next. And especially with the films, hopefully something will come up with that like in the future too.
Yeah.
And all the work that you're doing, and man, yeah, we've known each other since we were kids, man. And
Yeah, man.
It's good to see how far you came from back then up until now. It's crazy. Shout out to North Carolina.
Shout out to North Cac.
For real, for real.
Oh man, yeah, it's incredible. Thank you.
Yeah.
For this opportunity, man.
Yeah, man, we definitely had, because I think we were planning, I think I had wrote your name down as far as people I wanted to interview. Maybe it was a couple years ago. So we're definitely glad to be able to sit down with you and finally have this talk. And then definitely looking forward to the next few projects. Let's do this again next time. Let's do it again. Let's do this again whenever you have the next thing
Hopefully
coming up.
I got something to tell you about that Transformers by then. We'll see what happens.
God bless you, man. Thanks for coming in, and
Thank you, man.
let's do it again next time.
Always.
Let's get it.
Always. I can't wait to come back, brother.
Ice. Peace.